What job exists because we are stupid? Story 1. On crowded nights, Disney Springs has employees working at crosswalks at the intersections from the overflow parking lots to tell people when they can cross. They're normal intersections that have lights telling you when you can cross. People just don't acknowledge them and will try to run across oncoming traffic. Let's make a new ride. We'll call it Disney Springs Natural Selection Night. I assume they were there for drunk people on vacation. Something about going on a trip seems to make some people's common sense just shut off. Those garages are fucking magical though. Impress me more than any of the attractions. Story 2. Met a guy once. His job was putting dirt on potatoes. Somebody along the supply chain washed them pretty well by the time they got to the grocery. People didn't trust the clean potatoes, so one guy had to put dirt back on them to make them more authentic. Somewhat similar, continuously variable transmissions, CVTs, are becoming more and more common in modern cars. CVTs have a virtually infinite number of gear ratios compared to the normal 5 to 7 speed automatics. In a normal automatic, you can feel the gear shift, but with a CVT, there are no shifts to fill as it smoothly moves between ratios. People complain that they think something is wrong when they notice that there are no shifts. Because of this, engineers programmed the CVT to only use several specific ratios to recreate the filling of the shift, defeating the purpose of the CVT, which is utterly infuriating for people who actually own CVT cars. Well, for me, I could be smoothly accelerating, but instead I have a simulation of a crappy automatic transmission because someone thinks that cars will sell better if they are jerky. If I could change the firmware to fix the idiotic fake shift points, I would. Story 3. Traffic police in Baltimore. I was there this summer and the gridlock was atrocious. People push their way into the intersection. The light turns red, and they are stuck there until the light is about to turn red in the opposite direction, at which point these people push their way into the intersection and the cycle perpetuates. During rush hour, they have police standing in the intersections, not to direct traffic though, simply to hold their hand up when the light turns red so that people don't push their way into the intersection. Basically, a human has to stand in traffic for hours just to tell the drivers what the lights mean. It was unbelievable. Oh God, this reminds me of Atlanta. They have highway signs that tell you how many people have died so far that year in traffic accidents. It's obscene. It was something like just under 1,000 people so far this year in August. And yet everyone still drives like they're the only person on the road, so fuck it. Why not watch YouTube on my phone, swerve between lanes with no advance warning, and tailgate like I'm trying to drive through the other car? It's fucking terrifying, and I was only there for 3 days, and now I never want to go back. Ever. Just knowing that there are people who treat 5 lanes of traffic like it's a goddamn go-kart track makes me want to vomit. Story 4. The guys who install rubber padding around telephone and light poles so when we walk and text, we don't break our noses walking straight into them. Watched a woman stop halfway across a crosswalk in a busy intersection to text, oblivious to everything until cars started honking, and then she flipped them off. My blood pressure just shot up reading that. Infuriating. Story 5. I work in an aquarium, and we have what I can best describe as floor guides, which are just staff that interact with people and share interesting info about the exhibits. Realistically, while that is part of the job, the main reason for these people being out there is to tell people to keep their hands out of the stingray and turtle tanks, because for some reason beyond my comprehension, people don't naturally get this concept. At least once a day I hear, "Well, why can't I touch the stingrays?" And so far, my all-time favorite outcome of that question was a kid who said, "They have the word sting in their name." I have wanted to say that so many times, but am unable. I've seen you people working in the aquariums and zoos of the world. Your patience is outstanding. Thank you for keeping the idiots out of the habitats. Story 6. At my university, we have a person whose job is to stand by the garbage area and make sure people dispose of their trash appropriately. My school had a massive issue with recycling getting contaminated. It got so bad at one point that the company refused to take their recycling for a few months. They decided to redesign all the bins to make it super clear what you can and can't recycle, and the recycling bins are always next to a trash can, so it's never more work to recycle. People still throw food and trash in the recycling bins and vice versa. Most people can't be assessed to read, let alone to care. The amount of times I've seen people walk up to doors with a sign that says closed or back in 10, and they'll rattle the door for a couple of minutes is astounding. Source: worked at a convenience store and lived by one. Story 7. My husband is a labor and employment attorney for a massive company and gives monthly seminars to everyone there to not send dick pics or sexually harass one another. And like clockwork, someone in that room does it within a couple of weeks. Alright guys, it's me again. Nothing changed since last week. Your dick should still stay in your pants. Nobody wants to see it. That includes text, Snapchat, Instagram, email, regular mail. And I can't believe I have to say this, but it's a new week. Hey, fax isn't cool either. Just because I didn't mention it doesn't mean it's okay. Oh shit, that's right. I can fax Deborah a dick pic. Good idea. I don't understand why you would even want to do that, especially if it gets you reamed out every time. They've stopped caring about what others think about them and have adopted the shotgun approach to dating. If only 1 out of every 200 women will respond positively to a dick pic, I just need to send dick pics to 200 women and I may get a date. That is because it's just never occurred to them until someone mentioned it. Oh, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? Proceeds to send a pic of Dick Clark to coworker. Story 8. I'm a self-serve gas station attendant. Honestly, the only reason I'm here is to slap that emergency stop button if somebody starts pumping gas outside of their car or gas can. Oh, and shut off the pumps when I leave. Did you ever have to tell a motorcycle gang member, a pagan in my case, legendary for their violence, that he could not smoke while pumping gas? I did. I thought long and hard about the wisdom of that, and came to the conclusion that next time I was going to grab a bag of popcorn and watch the show from my booth in complete safety. No, but I did have to tell a motorcycle gang I can't just start the pumps if they leave their credit cards or debit cards with me. They were pissed off about telling me a cash amount or paying the pump. I also have to lie about the double-paned glass being bulletproof constantly. Story 9. The companies that get you out of timeshares. The worst part is that most of these are absolute scams too. Story 10. Tier 1 IT support. Did you try turning it on and off again? Sure you did. Could you blow into the cable to make sure there is no dust in the connect? Oh, the cable was loose? How surprising. Have a good day. Did you try turning it off and on again? Oh, this was 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. My laptop is at home. I'm currently driving my car. And this is why everyone at Help Desk has high blood pressure. Could you blow into the cables to make sure there's no dust in the connect? Oh, the cable was loose? Goddamn brilliant. I've also heard reverse the cable. They only work one way. Story 11. I have a side gig doing data entry. I earn 25 USD an hour copying and pasting stuff from a web page into an Excel spreadsheet while doing some light formatting. You could potentially get Excel to do that automatically. This is how you code yourself out of a job. If you do this, be careful to never let anyone know. And if they get suspicious, lie your goddamn ass off. Or take the opposite route. Publicize your creation. Put it on your resume and use it to take the job of the dumb motherfucker before you who never thought to do it.